I've just constantly find myself wondering, all right, where is this team's next level? Like, where is their willingness to go for the jugular? You know what I mean? Like, for whatever reason, this team will get out on you and they'll put it in cruise control, and then they need to rally to play well at the end. If this team would just put together 60 minutes, we'd be our jaws would drop. But for whatever
Yeah.
reason, we just never get that. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think some of that it has to do with coaching, and here's what I mean by this. On defense, and I know you can on offense, I can tell how aggressive we're going to be by the play calls that come into the game. Like if I'm on defense and we're sending in cover two, I'm like, what are we doing? But if we're coming in with single high, man pressure, zone pressure, I can tell that we're trying to be super aggressive. But the same thing goes for offense. When Sark gets a team down 14 nothing, like, okay, let's continue to be aggressive and push the football. And I'm not saying we got to throw bombs every play, but
Yeah.
let's call plays where we're trying to get chunk yardage. And I think the tone has to be set with the play caller, and the tone has to be set with the execution. Because we give Ohio State a lot of credit by saying, man, if they play their best, nobody can beat them. Greg, I think the team that can possibly give them a run, if they play their best, is Texas. I think when you look at where they can, how they can match up, you look at Texas's defense, you look at Quinn Ewers, you look at the offense. If Bond and Wingo and those guys can make some plays on offense, they can run the football. Like Texas offensive line is it's no slouch. Like I honestly think that if Ohio State doesn't quite play to a 10, let's say they play to an 8.5, and Texas plays to a 10, I think Texas can no doubt about it win this game. And I think it just goes to show you how styles make fights. Because I think Texas is the one team that if Ohio State isn't quite on, it's the one team that's left that can really beat Ohio State. I don't know if Notre Dame can do it. I don't know if Penn State can do it, but I do think Texas at their best can play Ohio State and beat them if Ohio State is just a little off.
Certainly feels that way. What do you make of Quinn Ewers' performance in the game against Arizona State? Because I came out of it thinking, all right, he played pretty good at the beginning and he played really good at the end. What happened in between? Kind of like what we just talked about with Texas. But if he can carry over what he did in the final 5 minutes, and if he can carry over that in the overtime period into the beginning of this game and play that way throughout, I think they can win the game. I think it'll be tough, but I think they can win the game. So what do you make of where he's at right now?
I think he's got to be aggressive, and he's got to make aggressive throws. I've seen him. I don't know what it is with him. Like he floats the ball a lot. Like what's going on with him? Like floating the ball and these touch throws. Like, there's several throws that I can go back and point to where you got to put your back from the ground and you got to throw that thing with a little less trajectory and you got to rip it in there. And he doesn't seem to want to do it. But if you go back in overtime, like when he makes that throw on the fourth down, like that ball was thrown with the perfect trajectory. It was thrown with the perfect amount of zip. I don't see him do that all the time. And I think if you're Sark, you have to ask the same questions that we're asking right now. How can I get my quarterback, not only my team, but my quarterback to play with a little bit more aggressiveness? I think that's the word for Texas. Be aggressive. Like it's almost like in that movie Jumanji, when The Rock and Kevin Hart are kind of in the forest and they put their hands in like be aggressive, be aggressive. Like that needs to be the mantra of the Texas Longhorns. Be aggressive from play calling to, and that's offensive and defensive, to how the quarterback throws the football, to if you get Ohio State down 7-10 nothing, man, go for 17, go for 24. You have to be aggressive. And I think the team will feed off of that based on the play calling.